June 30th, 2026, and you know why you're here, so let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I'm Jarazar, an old man podcaster.
What's up, guys? It's Big Moran, and I am now a Horde spy for the Divine Inquisition.
Hey guys, it's Treesap Jake, and I am a WoW esports aficionado. And today with us, we have got the fantastic and wonderful Healing Stat, aka Adrian. Welcome to the podcast yet again. It is an absolute pleasure to not be outflanked by those who live on the North Coast, although you do, of course, live there, but you are from my very own country. So welcome.
Yep, there you go. Thank you very much for having me.
Indeed. It's always a pleasure, dude. So, I mean, we asked you, and you've been on a few times, and always a pleasure to have you, Adrian, but 10 years. Like we mentioned, it was the 28th of June back in 2016, and it was me and Dillypoo actually talking about World of Warcraft and player versus player. And so I guess to you, what is something in the past 10 years that really stands out for the game for you?
Yes, that's a great question. I mean, 10 years is such a it's such a long time. Firstly, it's so cool that the podcast has been going on 10 years. Congratulations, because I think a lot of these things, like standing the test of time, is testament, right? Like I think that's super cool.
Thanks.
And yeah, thinking about, a lot's happened in 10 years, right? Like I'm biased because I come from the esports side of it, right? But so when I think of like iconic moments, I think of, like these big BlizzCon events we've done. Obviously very excited that we have another one of those coming this year. Inside the game, I guess it's been within the last 10 years because it's been such a long time, but like I think about the relaunch of Classic, and I think about the hardcore moments and like some of those dueling tournaments in the community and stuff like that. Like for me personally, a lot of those moments have been super, super fun, reliving TBC, some of those older kind of expansions and PvP seasons as well. But I mean, also just, we've had Solo Shuffle come in since then, which has been super fun. I got my first title in Solo Shuffle when it came out. I don't remember which expansion was that. Was that Dragonflight that it started?
Yeah.
It's there's been so many super cool moments in the last 10 years, and you guys have been able to cover all of them, right? Which is super sick.
Yeah. I think the thing that really caught me was like looking back and how, we started basically it was near the end of WoD. Legion hadn't come out yet. But then also that was that whole turnover when GCD TV started doing all the administrations and changed the format for AWC, and just how special that was, right? And then, and really, then I remember I got to go to my first BlizzCon. I met Brian in person. He was running the poster desk at the back, and then my first BlizzCon though, that was the epic journey of Rubcub. When he did that massive run.
Under Global, was it?
Yes.
I think that was their team name. Yep.
And that was just so epic. Like just just decimating.
Yeah, I remember him like cheering when they got the kill on, I think it was Fabs, right? In that like epic game 5. Yeah, I remember that. It didn't even go game 5 actually, I think. But yeah, it was crazy.
It was just nuts, and that whole hall just went nuts. And then. Like you said, like covering all the games, trying to cover. It's hard though. Trying to cover retail, classic. Like,
it's a lot. Yep.
We couldn't even do it, right? I think the only time we covered classic was when Jake decided to become a classic meme boy. Right, Jake?
Okay. Yeah, all right. Just throw me right under the bus straight away. I'm actually a retail boy now, so friendship ended with classic for now. But yes, yeah, you're 100% correct. Yeah.
But I think Big has really been the one that's kept us on the retail train. I think like I'm a complete casual boy, right? Versus I think Big, what's something you remember the most out of the last 10 years?
Yeah, there's a lot. So I wrote down a little list while y'all were talking. So Legion was actually one of the last expansions where we had a level 19 tournament. And so, there's been an XP off community in the game for such a long time. And it was kind of we had a grassroots tournament starting in 2014 every year, Warsong Gulch. I competed in the first two tournaments for that. One was in the end of Mesa Pandaria. The other one is in Warlords of Draenor. But then in Legion, I wasn't competing, but I was shoutcasting those tournaments, and that was always really fun. I don't know if you know who Muskie is, but he does. He's a shoutcaster for the level 19 community. I think he works for Red Bull Canada. So that was really fun. As far as retail events go, BlizzCon 2018, when we had the North American versus North American finals. Maybe I'm biased here, but I think that was I had a blast at that tournament. And I remember Adrian specifically shouting that Peekaboo is the best rogue in the world. And I was like, oh, yes, finally, NA gets the recognition it deserves. So Legion was a blast. I think more recently, the advent of Solo Shuffle was huge for me personally. As someone who's been playing the game for a while, kind of lose those connections over time, and you can't really play 3v3 as much as you could in your youth. And so, Solo Shuffle was a big turning point for me, kept me really engaged in the game, and I still play it today. I still play it almost every single day. So, yeah, lot to talk about over the past 10 years, but those were definitely the big ones for me.
Nice. Yeah, I'll say, there's just so many different things. I think the thing that, and we were talking about this in Discord earlier, but I think one of the things that I'm actually looking forward to is Legion coming back in the classic realms, right? Because we're gonna get there eventually, I'm assuming, right? Because we're at Mesa Pandaria, yeah. And I'd like to see how the community reacts to stat templates the second go around. Well, because I think we've talked about it before here, but I think fondly of those, and I actually found it. Because it was new, because that's also when they brought in all the PvP tuning knobs. That's when that got added to the game. So I think that part obviously won't be new, but I think coming back to the stat templates might be something the community might actually feel that is enjoyable this time, instead of complaining that they couldn't make, maybe get that specific BIS set, or like full cap on do a full haste build of gear or something like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, the carousel is that the classic community has got to live through WOD first to get to Legion, if we're going down that path.
WOD was good. Yeah, WOD was good.
I agree. WOD was great. I loved it as a PvP expansion. Not saying that. I'm just talking about, I feel like the PvEers didn't like it. So, but I loved it personally, and I played Enhanced Shaman, so I'm very biased. It was an incredible expansion.
The Shaman Dream.
Pound Fist at the start of WOD. I spent like 40 hours with my friends trying to get that mount. I don't remember what the zone was called. I remember it was the Dusky zone, and we were camping all the different spawn points, and I think that's when like layers or some variation of layers had been added in. So we would have to like switch between them all the time, and it was that was I'll remember as like an iconic moment of WoW for me, for sure.
Yeah, it was big. The swap over from the original models as well was kind of nuts. Like, I think like you could swap between them for ages during WOD, and then they switched off at some point when everyone had kind of gotten used to it. But that for me was a big change, I think. Like going from that kind of old school classic feel to what we kind of know now. And that felt really strong in WOD, 100%.
Yeah, because they upgraded all the polygon counts on everything, right?
Yeah. I don't know the details of it. I just know that the models look fancier.
Yeah, I remember. Because they did that video where they took was it a goblin or a gnome, whatever, and then they like it turned into a wireframe, and then they and then all of a sudden yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's all sorted now.
Yeah. So I think just speaking about, I guess, some classic stuff, I just want to throw back to you, Adrian, because I mean, let's be honest, you're part of the esports WoW team now, and BlizzCon some news just dropped today. I want to give you a little bit of shining moment time. What is going on at BlizzCon this year? Like, I thought some classic stuff is going on, not just AWC and MDI.
Yeah, I mean, it's Classic Cup is more. I've personally, yeah. I mean, BlizzCon is a big esports moment this year, right? Which is super cool. I think, you know, we've done what we can to create like pretty cool showcases at the various like events that have happened since the pandemic, such as at Gamescom and at BlizzCon in 2023. But 2026 takes everything to the next level. And one of the things that people are going to be very excited about is Classic Cup, right? Which is, it's less WoW Classic, more classic games across Blizzard in general, right? Like you've got StarCraft, Heroes, these sorts of matches. I think that's going to be really fun. I work less closely on this than I do on WoW, obviously. But just seeing like some of the names, like, I mean, Tasteless Artosis, they're like esport legends, period, right? So like, it's going to be super cool to have those guys there competing. And I mean, I have very fond memories of BlizzCons in the past. You know, I've always been there primarily for WoW, but you would go through the halls and you would see like the StarCraft banners and you would see like the futuristic stages of Heroes and stuff. So I think like bringing back an element of that in these legacy matches is going to be really cool. Obviously, again, personal bias, I'm mostly excited for what we're going to have in our championships, right? Like it's the first time we've done a kind of full-on qualification to participate at BlizzCon since 2019, and we have some, you know, I think we have some really interesting teams. Like on the arena side, like you have teams there that you'd expect to be there, like Echo and Gators Back, who are just, you know, like defending champions and, you know, super experienced. And then you got people like F tier. I forget how old Meat Monk is, but he's like super like young, incredibly talented. Like those guys, I think, shocked a lot of people. It's just exciting, right? Because then you get to see how these people respond to the live stage, the live audience, the lights, the sounds. It's a completely different experience. So I just, you know, I can't wait for all of that. It's why I do what I do today, you know, like when I competed, going through all of that. I just can't wait for these players to see them, you know, live it, and, you know, for the crowd to be able to cheer them on as well.
Yeah. Do you guys have extra keyboards just in case somebody does a keyboard smash?
We will have extra keyboards, yes.
Okay.
I hadn't bucketed it as like for that purpose specifically, but you know, if someone does that, not endorsing it, but you know,
yeah, you never know. You know, someone might get angry.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry. It's just like somebody misses an ice block sometimes, and it becomes a meme for the rest of eternity. Yeah, it's
been very fun. I have to give him a note every now and then, but Ven forever has been the person that people talk about that with that, right? And then you've got Chan on the desk now trying to rebrand it as Raikou, as you can tell. So, you know, we've all been there. I sympathize.
Definitely. I guess it depends on when it's televised and then in front of millions of people.
Yes. Yeah. If you just do it by yourself, like I have my mage magic stat and he dies before block.
Yep.
Fairly often, but only me and 2 other people and maybe 3 people that I'll never speak to on the other side see it. Yeah. So, you know, it's a bit of a different ball game.
Yeah, exactly. I think Big could probably, because Big, you like to play your mage, right?
My mage is in retirement temporarily, but I'm thinking about bringing it back. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely died without ice block a few times, and you know, as a druid main, sometimes I'll die and I'll look at my bars and I'm like, oh, okay, I had bark skin up. Like I should have pressed that, but you know, I got greedy or just didn't notice. So it happens.
Indeed.
One thing I want to talk about actually regarding the tournament is, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it single elimination this year?
Yep, it will be.
So that's very interesting. I think there's a lot of upset potential because of that. You know, you mentioned earlier that we have we have some teams that where a lot of people kind of expected to be at BlizzCon, like Echo. But if I were I think any one of these teams can win the tournament. Just because the level of competition over the past few years has just gotten exponentially better. And, Echo's obviously really good. Dreamer Zone is very solid. Gator's Back, very solid. I think F tier, speaking of them, could be a potential dark horse in this tournament. So, as you said, I'm very excited to see how they do, because they've actually been a brick wall against a lot of the Rogue Mage teams on NA. So they've been very good at that, in that specific matchup. And then the Chinese team was very interesting. I didn't watch the entire tournament, but I saw that they were playing Holy Paladin, Asa Rogue, Fire Mage, which, it is Rogue Mage, but that's a bit off meta compared to what we were seeing in the other regions. So I think there's potential for any team to win this tournament, and I think that's very exciting. I don't know do you guys have any particular favorites, or who do you guys think that one team is going to reign supreme? Just out of curiosity.
I'm gonna have to go with Echo, obviously, because EU. No, I'll leave it at that. I'm just gonna stick to that story.
Fair enough.
I think
that's part of why this is fun, right? Is that you don't really get to see the EU, NA, and China kind of cross compete. In MDI, we get to do it in a pretty equitable way online. Although I will say, it's still a little hard for China because they have to adhere to not ideal time zones. But in AWC, it's very you can't do it until you do it properly in person. So yeah, everyone always has their theories. As you said, in 2018 it was all NA, in 2019 it was all EU. It really could go anyway. But I agree with you. I loved F-Tier's story. I mean, they had to take down some huge teams to get here. And once you've done that, right, you take down Dire Wolves and Welcome to the Jung, it's would anyone bet against you being able to do it? You have to win 2 series, to get through to the final. And then once it's the final, anything can happen, right? I love that team in general, just because they started out from such kind of they've always stuck to their guns of F tier is their team name. Their composition is always I'm not going to say it, but it's always something different from what everyone is running. And that's their origins too, right? When they got on the scene a couple of years ago, they were doing this, and it was kind of a couple of top 8 performances, and I think they came second or first in one of the tournaments last year, from what I remember, at the very end of the season, and it was a whoa type moment, right? And now look where they are, right? I mean, and I think we're, as you guys said, WoW is a huge game, and an event like BlizzCon, you want to celebrate that and create content across the spectrum for everyone in the community, which means when we are putting together the programming for MDI and AWC, we really want to make sure it is the best, most hype matches for that live crowd, which we know is an experience like no other, right? I think everyone here has experienced that in some form. And I can only imagine, right? These teams are the best teams in the world. They've all worked ridiculously hard. China also had 3 cups into a finals, a full season of content to get here. And now, it's just going to be those single elimination games, just like, you've got the World Cup going on right now, right? It's a big team can get upset, no problem, if they don't show up on the day. And that it just makes it so fun to watch.
I have to admit, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I haven't really been paying attention to the China teams at all. I missed any broadcasts on that. Not trying to make you put any bias or anything, but are they actually up to the same tier? Because usually when a China team shows up, I don't know, they seem to not shine as well as the NA or the EU teams that they're playing against. Obviously, there's been a one or two in the past 20 years of WoW esports, but is the team that's making it this year, are they of the same tier, or are we going to see kind of a blowout like we normally do?
I think it's always very difficult to tell, and that's why it's so fun when all the regions come together. Like I describe them as a wild card, right? Like no one really knows because the China region is so separated. There's a bit more crossover between EU and NA these days. So I think that always makes it fun that you don't quite know what to expect. But there's definitely been some. I mean, Pen and Paper is the one that always stands out, right? Like there's been some incredible teams, and as Big Room was saying, it's like you just need to show up for a few series, whether it be upsets or people think it's an upset, but you have what it takes. I think anything can happen.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's possible that we're going to be playing, or that BlizzCon is going to be played in a new season. So, depending on the timing of patch releases, we might be in a new season, which means new tuning and kind of everyone's sort of scrambling to adjust to possible new meta. So I think, again, this is the perfect recipe for some potential upsets. And speaking of the Chinese team, I believe, from what I've gathered, they were not the favorites to qualify. The favorites to qualify, I believe, was a team that was playing Turbo Cleave. I could be wrong on that, but I know there's a lot of Chinese players who play on North America, and there's some very talented people there. So I believe a player that comes to mind that a lot of people name their warrior after is Jessica Jin. It's very confusing because there's like 3 different Jessica Jins, but there was a Jessica Jin in this tournament, and in the Chinese tournament, and they were expected to win, but they lost to this RM Paladin, again playing this sort of goofy comp, and the Paladin was even playing, I believe, a Denounce as a PvP talent, which is a bit unusual. And Paladins aren't necessarily considered the best healer right now, and so they are able to kind of have this weird strategy of Denounce with an Asarogue and a Fire Mage, and I think that's really cool. And again, depending if we're playing, or if these teams are playing on a new patch, there's going to be a lot of adjustments that need to be made, like early on, and there's definitely going to be a learning curve, so to speak, in adjusting to the tournament. So I'm pumped, and I'm going to be I'm planning to be at BlizzCon. I have tickets and everything, so I'm going to be there in the audience cheering, and I think it's it's been since 2019 was the last time we had like a true LAN at BlizzCon. I was there in 2023 for the Guild Clash, but obviously the an AWC official tournament's a bit different than that, and so I'm excited.
This is going to sound a little shady, but I'm just happy that they're going to have a tournament where people are going to be able to sit down and not have to sit on the floors. It's I'm looking for it. I'm sorry.
I can't confirm there's going to be a good amount of seating for this year. I mean, to be honest, like it's a part of the whole like process, right? It's like when you see how many people wanted the content in 2023, like crowding around all the streamer stations, the monitors it was on, it's a big like reminder of like how special these moments are, right? And how much demand there is for it. So I definitely think that plays into what a strong show we're able to put on this year.
Yeah. No, I unfortunately won't be able to go. I'm going to be watching from home on my big screen TV, but you can guarantee that people are going to be wondering what's going on inside the house because I'll be yelling at it. So hopefully nobody calls the police on me. We'll see.
I mean, I might just do that just for fun, but unrelated.
Don't swat me, man. Don't swat me.
There's a pizza coming to your door.
Oh, good. I'll take pizza or coffee. I think just thinking back, and we were kind of talking about the meta, and right now, I know like RMP or Rogue Mage X is kind of the current meta that everybody's going to. But I'm trying to remember what other seasons or what other tournaments we've had that had a different meta. Like I know there's a couple times when Jungle Cleave was super strong, but that was usually only for like a season. It wasn't through the whole expansion or the whole X-Pack. But I mean, other this year we had what was it? The Demon Hunter whole thing with Sea-Doo and Trill when they won, right? And then what were the other what are some other metas that we've seen where we've had a superiority over Rogue Mage?
There was oh, go ahead, Jake.
Oh, I was going to say my one, and then I'll let you tier list master crack on. I think the one for me was Windwalker Mage when that came into being. I can't remember when. I feel
Legion.
like it was it Legion.
Yeah,
I feel like some definitely in the last 10 years that was the big one for me, where there was just a sudden change, and that comp seemed really, really good. And in fact, actually, I feel like it still is really good. So it's one of the ones that's kind of stayed. I think maybe that's one of the ones that F tier and other various sort of up and coming teams. There was one on EU as well that played, I think, some sort of Windwalker Rogue? I think there was a team that played that, and they completely and totally swept away.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember their name exactly now for some reason, but they played Windwalker Rogue, and it was insane. Like there were some been really interesting comps, but the one for me has always been Windwalker Mage, just being quite dominant for a while.
Yeah, and I remember at the end of Dragonflight, there was, I believe, an AWC finals or it was a cross-region AWC between where the finals were Sea-Doo versus Echo, and this was when Destro Warlocks and Havoc Demon Hunters were like really, really, really good. And there was that moment earlier in the series or early in the tournament where Sea-Doo actually beat Echo and punched his chair, which was really cool. Poor chair. But then
chairs, keyboards, lots of casualties.
Yeah, many threads of fiber were lost that day.
Yep.
But that was a crazy tournament. And that was cross region. Which was, I think, one of the first cross regions we had. It might have been the first like official one, right? Since kind of lands shut down and after 2019. Did we have any cross regions in between 2019 and like Dragonflight? I don't remember.
I don't think officially. I think cross region tournament you're referring to was kind of the first trial at like what it would look like online. I'm going to be the first to admit that it's I think it's really fun, and I think that the brand is Arena World Championship for a reason, right? Like people want to see Europe versus North America, but you also want to try hold it in a way that's like fair and interesting for the competitors as well, which online latency does impact. But yeah, I remember that event. I remember it was super fun, and that's also why like when we've done that and some of the showcases we held since then as well, you try and do it in a way that's it's not all or nothing so much. But obviously at BlizzCon we have the liberty to make it all or nothing, which is even more kind of fun to watch. And I think on some level, like these guys are the best of the best. They put hours and days and all this time into their craft. Like sometimes you just want to prove that you're the best of the best. That all or nothing is just like it adds to the exhilaration, right?
Yeah, and speaking of like interesting format or tournament formats, there was a solo shuffle tournament at the beginning of Dragonflight or right before Dragonflight. That was an official Blizzard one, right? I think.
Yep. Yeah, it was disconnected from AWC. But when Solo Shuffle came out, we hosted that one, and I remember. I don't remember all the winners, but I remember Brune Hiddy was the European DPS winner from what I remember, and that was his like big moment, right? Yeah. Now he's on a super strong roster, so that was super to see as well.
I want to say Clyde won as the healer from EU, but I don't remember the North American results. But that was such a fun tournament, and I mean I'm biased because I'm a Solo Shuffle fanboy, but I think you guys should do that again. Like that was a blast, and it's a format that a lot of people play. I mean, I'm guessing it's kind of a pain in the butt to organize something like that, but
yeah, we talk about it. And I'm definitely not saying that it wouldn't happen again. The the thing is, it's definitely like it's a choice we have to make of like what is the format of PvP tournaments we want to put out. I mean, I'm always, I come from community events. I'm always super in favor of community kind of hosted stuff, and we like to support it where we can when groups want to put this stuff on. But from the Blizzard standpoint, it's definitely like if we want to run a solo shuffle event, then it's in place of one of the AWC tournaments, for example, which very possible that is the right call. I also love solo shuffle. I play solo shuffle is the main PvP I play in the game for sure. Just because, as you say, it's so easy to kind of log in, queue up, and get your gear through that as well. So we put out some surveys to players and fans last year, I think, where we were talking about it a little bit, and we definitely get mixed feedback of, some people really want to see it and the novelty is super cool and kind of being able to root for that individual champion, whereas some people kind of see the team-based competition as like the pinnacle of what you can do in WoW Arena, right? So, I see both sides of it, and I agree with you. I had very good memories of that event, so definitely not saying that we wouldn't bring it back again in future. It's one of those things where we're always kind of looking for what people's feedback is. I think actually there should be some feedback requests going out from us via the AWC Discord this month, just kind of as a recap of the past season that concluded. So, be on the look for that and give us your thoughts.
Oh, good. Well, we should make mention of that because I think it's Discord /AWC is the.
I will get the link in and link it to you, but I think we just have it on a Blizzly link where it's Blizzly-AWC Discord. Yeah, so it's pretty simple to find. If not, it's available in Radar.io and our blog posts. So we keep it pretty accessible to people.
Awesome. But yeah, I highly recommend if they follow AWC, not just compete in it, like that's a great place to be as well, right? So they can get access to those. Yep. Those services.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say that the main places that it's always good to keep an eye on if you're interested in WoW esports is we have our social media, especially our Twitter or X account, which always posts all the updates and follows along the tournaments. And then the Discord, we always make sure firstly it's like a nice way to kind of have two-way communication. We have some feedback channels and things like that in there, but also obviously whenever there's new events, new announcements, they all get posted there.
Absolutely. Personally, RSS is great. I think BG Blitz is probably the dark horse that would probably gather a lot of viewers, but because I think there's a lot more people that queue for BG Blitz than they queue for RSS. But that's my own person. I'm a little biased though. I'm a BG fanboy, so
I played a bunch of RPGs or Battleground Blitz, as you say, when it first came out as well. And one of the individuals who observes for us, called Cherry, she does a lot of like great content with Oasis and Battleground guides. I'm trying to persuade her to, because you can queue duo for that, right? I'm like, hey, can you give me a helping hand here? Because she owns that stuff. So
yeah, she does. No, Cherry's awesome. We've actually had her on here, along with. So I just want to. Stat wise, sorry to toot our own horn again, but I went back and I counted, and we have had 122 unique guests, including you, Adrian, over the last 240 episodes.
That's awesome. That's crazy,
right?
I still think those numbers are insane. Like 10 years, 240 episodes. That's so consistent. That's super cool.
We did almost every other week. There's a couple times we had to skip, just because schedules just wouldn't allow. And then there's like the occasional, like today we're doing it. Normally we record on Wednesday nights, but tonight we're recording on a Tuesday night because tomorrow's Canada Day. And being a Canadian, I kind of want to celebrate our country. No different than if it was July the 4th, we would move it or do another day because something goes on in the United States on the 4th of July. I don't know, something. It's
something.
Yeah, don't know what though, but
I don't know. There's some fireworks. That's all I know. It's
a scary time for dogs.
It is.
It's a celebration. It's a celebration of the first BlizzCon victory of North America over EU a long time ago.
Indeed. Written in the annals of history.
The first NA versus EU PvP, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Truly.
Oh, God. Yeah, the last 10 years have been crazy. It feels, I don't know if you ever think about this. I think about COVID. COVID feels like yesterday, like Shadowlands feels like yesterday. And then I'm like, how long ago was that? Oh, no, that was 6 years. And you're just like, oh.
Yeah. Time is crazy. COVID definitely, I mean, so many things were different before COVID, and it feels like so long ago, but also pretty recent at the same time. When you guys were like, what's your biggest moments in the last 10 years? I'm like, I mean, that's been a lot of time. A lot of stuff has happened, but at the same time, it feels like it's all happened very quickly, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%. I think for me as well, like I went from Legion, I was kind of like, I think I got my first ever 2K, so I got like my first ever like elite set, and then went from that to basically making content for the first time in BFA during lockdown. I feel like the last 6-7 years has been kind of crazy. So it's been a nice little capstone, actually. And I'm obviously very happy to have joined the podcast as well. I actually still remember, Garrison, when you messaged me on my own Twitch chat, like, hey, how's it going? Like, oh, have you thought about, jumping on the podcast sometime as a guest? And I was like, oh, no, I haven't done. And then you roped me in.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Same thing with Big. I mean, Big was a guest the first couple times before he became a co-host as well. And honestly, like, so again, like when this started 10 years ago, it was first just me. It was me and Rishiwi. Rishiwi was there also, the first couple podcasts. And then he said he got too busy. And then Winstead joined me. Because Winstead was doing one on Battlegrounds and that stuff, and then so he stopped and joined me, and then Andelin joined, and then that ran for probably I think it was 4 or 5 years, and then you guys hopped in because Winstead had to take he wasn't playing anymore, he wasn't enjoying it, and then Andelin got married and had kids. I don't know, like again, my priorities, right? So.
Yeah, WoW over everything else. That's the healthy option, right, guys? Right.
All right.
I agree. You don't have to tell me. Yeah.
Well, you're one of the lucky ones, Adrian. You literally get to get paid to participate in the game and do all this fun stuff with it, versus us plebs have to do other jobs and then do this on our free time. I think. How often are you able to actually play as part of your job? Like, do you doing like solely just a whole bunch of administration for esports when you're at the office, and then it's only after hours that you get to do some game time?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't really get to play at all during office hours. I think if you're on the game team, like working on development of the game, you spend on average like a lot more time like play testing and like diving in that way. I mean, I'm fortunate because I do play a good amount in my free time, because also for me it's definitely important to stay up to date with the dungeons for MDI and just the latest season. Plus I just enjoy doing it. It is normally in my free time. Yeah, it's my schedule is pretty, I have my job, my work, and then we have our 2-year-old at home now. So normally we pick her up from her daycare. We'll do dinner, evening activities, all this good stuff, and then I get. I'm sure a lot of parents listening know this. It's like you get your little bit of evening time once kids have gone to bed, and that's normally my gaming time or my TV time or whatever. And then the morning comes around and it's the same rinse repeat, right? So mostly I used to raid, which I couldn't do. Just I didn't have enough time to do that. But I still get enough time to like I do there's a few people in our team and that I know that I'll do the odd dungeon with, and then I do my solo shuffle, so that's normally how I get about it. And as I was talking about at the start, like I am a big classic fan. I did my 1 to 60 in hardcore.
Wow.
I enjoyed playing. In TBC I got the what was the new title? The Infernal Gladiator.
Infernal, yeah.
I had a ton of fun playing in TBC. I played a little bit of Ven and Co actually. So I hop around between different modes. But I've been really enjoying Midnight. And yeah, Solo Shuffle's been the main thing I've been doing. So
nice. All right. Oh, sorry for assuming. I kind of assumed that everybody at the company had a chance to play a bit more.
I definitely used to have more time. It depends on like your job, and I could squeeze it into the work hours probably, but to be honest, it's also like it's fun to kind of keep it as like a separate like playing, like when you're playing for work or you're playing for fun, it is different experiences. So yeah, I enjoy I've played WoW just like you guys, like 20 odd years or so at this point, so it's like you don't have to persuade me very hard to hop in and play, right? So
right, Roger, sending you a BNet friend request now.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. I'm actually kind of surprised. I kind of assumed the esports team, because like, you have enough people there. I thought you'd like have a little dungeon crew and run the dungeons together, and then hop over and run some arenas together just to keep fresh and be
maybe we're lucky because like everyone just plays the game in and of themselves, and that's something we really value with the people that we bring in, is that like you want to have industry experience and like experience like working this the sort of skills you need for these roles, but also just like the WoW community is so special, right? And you even beyond like AWC and MDI, we've had events for housing and Plunderstorm and like all these other things, and it's like the way how to create a good experience of those events is only possible if you play the game. So I mean, when there's a new season, we'll do all the tournament realm setup and stuff like that. Like we will go in and test a little bit. So there is a degree of that, but I see that as pretty different from having your own character, grinding your gear, kind of getting a sense of like the whole, like how the patch plays out, how the season plays out when you're in the dungeons and arena and stuff. So it's that's something that is normally more on free time. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I think that's we're coming up to almost the hour. I can't believe it's been an hour of chatting already.
Yeah, it goes fast, right?
It does. And I actually enjoy that, because like when we first started doing this, it was pretty free format, and it's kind of free, and then I tightened up the format a bunch, but it was like a 2-hour show, like for the longest. It's only these last few episodes we've dropped it down to the hour and made it more of a free flow rather than a very structured, with like the different segments and stuff like that. But the one segment that we do keep, that I always enjoy, is the one thing you would change. And so I think I haven't heard Big talk for a while, so I'm going to throw it to you first, Big. And looking back at the last 10 years, what's one thing you would change?
Can I give a selfish answer to this?
Absolutely.
It's like slightly narcissistic answer.
Yeah.
I'm still making, my plan was to make a Rogue documentary.
Yep.
And I released episode 1 last year.
Yep.
And I'm now going to start working on episode 2 and really grinding it out. But I wish I would have done that sooner. Like the whole thing. And it's hard for me to find the time to write a script and then, get clips myself when it's kind of what I already do for my job anyway. It's I get kind of tired of that. But I wish I would have produced this style of WoW content earlier. That's what I would have changed about myself.
Fair enough. So a WoW movies era of the history of Rogue rather than a 2026 era YouTube.
Yes, but I hope to get it out before. It's going to be very important for me to get it out before BlizzCon, because there's going to be a very important storyline I need to tell about rogues going into BlizzCon. Stay on the lookout.
All right, I like it. Jake, how about you? What's one thing you would change in the last 10 years?
I will say that Rogue series was very, very good. So highly recommend if you haven't watched it yet. What's the one thing I changed? I think I'm also going to go for a selfish answer. I think it's more of a kind of saying it to myself that back in BFA, don't sit around for 2 days near the end of the season thinking your friends are going to log back on to do the glad wins. Just do them. So yeah, that is my big regret for that. I think that's what I would change. I'd tell myself, don't wait, just queue up with the people that wanted to queue with you at the time.
Mm-hmm. So good lesson. Don't wait.
No, don't wait, just do.
I think for myself, I would tell myself to get over the anxiety of queuing and feeling the pressure and just queue. Like it's a process. Trust the process. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and make sure you go back and learn from the losses so you win better, I guess. Adrian, what's one thing you would change in the last 10 years?
Yeah, personal thing I would change in the last 10 years. I'm thinking, I was thinking about it while you guys were talking. I mean, I feel like maybe I would have played more classes sooner, because I for a long time I played, and I still do play, a Shadow Priest as like, my super main, and I get a little jealous of, like, I see people who easily re-roll every single expansion. They're like, oh, I want to try playing this class, or like experiencing the game completely different in this way, and that's something that I'm so kind of headstrong on always playing the same way. But recently I've been trying to play like a little bit more mage, and then when I'm doing like some testing stuff, I'll play like a hunter or something like that, and it's like it's actually very fun doing that. Like I played in Midnight recently, like the whole like Frostfire mage, which I can't remember the last time that sort of stuff was possible, but even during leveling, it's just like super fun. So that would probably be my answer from that perspective. Yeah, there's so much to the game, and you always like, it's kind of like life as well, right? Like you get very like comfortable in certain things. So like when you branch out, sometimes it's like, oh, that's actually really, really fun. So
yeah, it's like going to a pizza parlor, and there's so many different kinds of pizza,
and you always get the same one. Yeah, exactly. That's me for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So right before we do the shout outs, I just wanted to tell people, as part of this 10-year anniversary, I'm going to be giving away, are going to be giving away, we have 30 days of game time, 60 days of game time, and I also have an epic midnight game code from the collector's edition that Blizzard actually sent myself. So I'm going to be giving those away somewhere, either over on Twitter or X, over on Blue Sky, or over on our Discord server. So make sure that if you're listening to this, get your butts over there into those spots and look for those giveaways there, and do the things that we make you do so that we can make sure you're not a bot and make sure that you are a live person that listens to the show and can enjoy the game. All right, Adrian, shout out. Do you have anybody you wish to shout out on this episode?
Yeah, I mean, in general, obviously, like, and the big thing I want to shout out is BlizzCon. I hope everyone watching gets to experience it in some way, whether it's in person or online remotely. It's going to be an amazing show. I'm genuinely, it's the most kind of energized and excited I've felt for something I've worked on since some of the previous BlizzCons. Right, it's just such a big moment always. So it's earlier in the year this year. I always have to kind of remind myself when I'm doing planning. It's like, nope, we're not planning for November. We're planning for September. So it's coming up. It's coming up quickly. Yeah. And then in terms of shout outs, I just shout out, like everyone that always supports these programs, right? Like the participants, the players, for giving such, raw amounts of effort and passion and incredible gameplay. It's always a joy. The folks who work behind the scenes on the production, and obviously the viewers that love the content and support it. This whole community is very special, right? And it's only possible because of folks like you as well, who've been kind of going and covering this for 10 years. It's super. I feel very lucky and kind of blessed to be able to be part of this community, and I can't wait for our celebration moment in September.
Absolutely. I congratulations, actually. I know it's a little early, but I know it's going to kick ass. So, big.
I'd like to give a shout out to a historic European PvPer named Jamie, who spent a long time this season on the bench. A very hard role to compete on, and qualified for BlizzCon with that role. So shout out to Jamie and his bench position.
I heard the bench player is actually the most important player.
That's why I'm shouting him out. That's very important.
How about you, Jake? Any shout outs for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out the lovely Big Moran and Gerasar for being wonderful co-hosts of the Technically PvP podcast. I think specifically, both of you bring so much. Gerasar, we wouldn't be able to do the podcast without you. And we have tried. And it has been rough when I try and do it. So I appreciate you doing all the hard work. And Big, always, you bring a lot of expertise that I do not have access to, mostly because I don't play healer. And also, I don't make the tier list for skill cap. So on that note, I think, you guys are awesome. You're doing it.
I think it's funny you said that, considering I actually forgot to start streaming when the weekend.
Listen, it had to be done. As we said, it's a big part of 10 years. So
10 years and every day is like the first day. That's what makes it so special.
Yep. Keep it fresh.
Well, I think I'm going to give a quick shout out to Jekyll and Mr. Hyde over on the Valor Guild. He ran apparently he runs like almost monthly a twos tournament and uses a bunch of gold. He gets the money he gets from his subs, he uses to get gold, and then he uses that as the prize pool for the twos tournament. And then
cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And then also as part of the guild, they have a community PvP night, and so he and another demon hunter, so we're playing what was it, Priest, Havoc, Devo threes on Sunday night. It didn't go well, but we had fun, and that's fine.
That's what matters.
Yeah, I think we started. They were on their alts, and I think we started around like the 1900 MMR, and I think we were down to like 1600 by the time we were done. It was a bit fun, but it was good. It was fun times. So shout out to those guys. Adrian, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Myself personally, I probably the best place these days is just my X account, which is at HealingStat. I don't really have other platforms that I post on myself. But of course, we have all the content that comes out of the esports channels as well, which is across more platforms. But yeah, if you want to follow me, I'd say X HealingStat is the main place to do so.
All right, we'll look for you there. And I think Big, can you, for the people that are listening that have only just found us and want to know how to get a hold of us better, where would that be?
Yeah, so you can contact us directly on X at technically_PvP, or on Blue Sky at technicallypvp.bluesky.social, or even by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on our Discord.
And we are now hosted on Libsyn. So a link to the website will be in the show notes. Don't forget that the Bonus Roll website also has a podcast directory with us and many other great shows at www.bonusroll.gg. This directory has a review system, so please head on over there and tell everyone what you think of your favorite shows, including our own.
Indeed. So links for finding us are going to be in the show notes, along with the Blizzly link that Adrian was nice enough to give us for the MDI the AWC Discord, so you guys can find the surveys when that comes out. And I want to thank everyone for listening, not just this show, but for the last 10 years. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will chat with you next time. Good night, everybody.